Hello and welcome to the Just Interesting podcast. The podcast that's not too interesting, it's not boring, it's just interesting enough. And with me today are Robin.
Hello, Martin. How are you?
I'm alright, thanks, mate. I'm alright. You had a good Easter?
Yeah, lovely Easter. Yeah.
That was the last thing that happened, wasn't it? It's kind of all merged into one.
It is. Kind of forgot that bank holidays are a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And Alex, how's it going?
Hi guys, how's it going? You guys both alright?
Yes.
Did you eat lots of chocolate over Easter?
Actually, yes.
Yes,
Oh, good.
too.
Yeah.
Yes, as well.
Did you manage to find some eggs in this post-apocalyptic dystopian world we're living in now?
I managed to get eggs delivered from my mother and father-in-law, which is very nice.
Oh, that's
They
nice.
they left them outside. It's be gone, shooed them away, and and then of course debt owed everything. Yeah, this is the world we live in.
Are we talking about chocolate eggs? Or
Chocolate
real
eggs,
eggs?
yeah.
All right, yeah. I feel like chocolate eggs have been a lot easier to get hold of than real eggs in this.
Oh,
this
yeah,
kind
I
of
In
imagine
crisis.
fairness,
so.
yeah.
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 I would have traded my Galaxy chocolate egg for a 12-pack any day.
Would you?
12-pack of eggs.
Would you have traded it for? Would you have traded it for 12 boiled eggs or 12 poached eggs or both?
No, you've chosen my least favourite form of eggs there.
What would you have gone for?
Just eggs in the shell, so I can choose how to prepare them.
No, they either become pre-boiled or pre-poached. I'm not even sure how you pre-poach an egg, but you've
I
got.
don't know what I'd even do. I guess scrambled so that they're all there and I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just loose.
I'm not just
form
going to go
egg.
to town on 12 fried eggs like a madman. So
You got to store those fried eggs, yeah. Anyway, with that said and done, what have you guys learned
that's
this
our hot take on Easter.
What have you guys learned this week?
Oh, after you, Alex.
I mean, other than we can really push the boundaries of conversation, I learned it's not. This really actually pushes the boundaries of what it can be considered interesting. But I found this interesting. So beer cans used to be 40% thicker and much stronger than they are now. You know, like everyday aluminium cans.
Yeah.
And that's why there's that kind of movie, TV trope of people crushing beer cans, because it was actually a kind of like show of strength.
It was a difficult thing.
Yeah. So the
Interesting.
notable example that this article points out is Jaws. Remember Quint from Jaws?
Yeah.
There's that bit where
Doesn't he like flatten them?
downs a beer can and then crushes the can, and then I can't remember the character's name.
Yeah.
But the other guy drinks from a styrofoam cup and then crushes it as well. It's a very funny moment.
That's it.
But
I
yeah,
haven't seen that for ages.
I mean, occasionally you come across a can, not like a mainstream like soda can or whatever. But you come across a can, a beer can or whatever that is still an old school thick can. Rarely. And it's quite satisfying to drink out of. You're like, how many millilitres are in this one? Oh, it's still 330, but the can feels heavier.
Ah.
I don't know if I've had that experience, but
Oh.
I'm waiting for the day.
I mean, you're missing
Martin's
out.
talking about like there's a lot of craft beers, aren't there, Martin, that do that?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
And also, if you go into the foreign section of a supermarket, and you get like
Don't you mean
imported,
international cuisine, Martin.
yeah, international cuisine, foreign, then often the cans are heavier. It's true.
Fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, that was what I learned this week.
I
It's
like
been
it.
a slow week for me.
That's actually very interesting, I thought, yeah. Because there's, especially in 80s movies, I feel like there's a lot of moments where people crush a beer can in their hands. Like there's a moment in one of my
Yeah.
favourite films with Tom Hanks called The Burbs, a film from 1988. You ever seen it?
Yeah.
Haven't seen it.
Years and years ago, I think
Yeah.
I saw it.
It's a black comedy, but there's a bit where he's really frustrated and he just picks up some beer cans and crushes them. And it always used to make me laugh, but now it probably has a bit more dramatic meaning than I realised it did.
Yes.
That's the thing. Whenever you see someone do that in real life or in a movie or something, you just think that's a bit lame. Why have they done that? That doesn't make them look strong. That makes them look weak and pathetic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
actually, yeah, back then I guess it was a bit more impressive at least.
A little bit. I learned
little bit.
something very different, but any dog owner probably realises and remembers and knows that dogs' noses are quite cold, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Alex, you've got a nice couple of dogs, haven't you? And they,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
thought I'd throw that out there.
couple of Frenchies.
There you go. And apparently, scientists in Sweden and Hungary have done a study, and they think they now know why dogs' noses feel cold. And
Okay.
it's as simple as dogs' noses are, on average, I think, 5 degrees Celsius cooler than their environment. And part of the reason is they're natural heat sensors.
Okay.
That is interesting.
So they think that, dogs descended from wolves. Wolves hunt, and their noses are colder than the environment because they can trace heat signatures very vaguely in their environment and find prey.
That's really interesting.
So is that related to smell at all, or is that just kind of a different sense almost that they have?
Literally, different sense. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, they said they
I
could
mean,
show.
very very cool.
Yeah, from up to 1.5 meters away, the dogs that they tested could detect faint heat sources.
Okay, so it's quite a
Yeah.
low scale compared to their sense of
Yeah,
smell.
it's not like Predator.
Yeah,
In the movies.
but still impressive.
But
Probably quite
yeah, and
probably quite good at say finding bodies in rubble if it was particularly cold, and
yeah,
I don't know, for whatever reason they weren't able to use the sense of smell. Interesting.
yeah.
That is interesting. So but you never really consider that. But yeah, if you had something, if it was just literally colder, then can tell when something's particularly warm. It would make it stand out a lot more.
Yeah, because like with climate change, everything scientists are always saying 1 degree difference makes a huge difference, has a huge impact on the climate and the way weather systems work. And I suppose if you're able to detect something that's just 1 degree warmer in the nearby vicinity, you can probably that it's significant.
Yeah, that
Fair
is.
enough. Well, well done to those scientists in Sweden for finally cracking the case.
Well, it's a preliminary study. Hopefully,
Oh,
they'll
okay.
they'll get funding for a bit more research. I mean, there's so many different breeds of dogs. I mean, they've got to do a comprehensive study.
That's true.
The mystery endures
Yes.
for the time being.
So really, I've learned
Yes,
nothing this
indeed.
week. Oh.
Well, this week I learnt about Beethoven and how he overcame his deafness. It was quite well known, wasn't it, that Beethoven went deaf, and a lot of people wonder, how did he continue to play piano? Did he continue to play piano when he was deaf?
Yeah.
We did,
But
yeah.
actually, he was able to hear due to a phenomenon called bone conduction. So what Beethoven did was he attached a metal rod to his piano and then bit down on this metal rod, so he was able to hear via the vibrations through the rod attached to the piano. So that's how he was able to,
Wow.
So could
to
he actually
continue hearing.
hear the music, or was it just like he could
Well-
tell the difference between the different vibrations?
I believe it was via the vibrations, but you know, like when you have your hands over your ears and you're making noises, and your voice sounds so much different
Yes.
to if you were speaking out loud.
Yeah.
I think it's a similar thing to that. It's like you can hear that kind of low frequency vibrations in your head as opposed to the actual sounds that are going on. And actually, it's something that has been utilized up until this day to help those who are most severely deaf, because hearing aids on people that are completely deaf, who have really significant damage, just don't work. So there are other things they can do using this bone conduction and to have these particular implants in order to hear via bone conduction as opposed to traditional hearing aids.
That's quite recent, isn't it? Because I saw several people with implants behind their ears, and the implants are in their skull.
Yes.
Yeah. And I saw a few for last year for the first time, and I thought it was fascinating seeing them with these implants.
Wow. I've never heard of that before. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that has been used very in a lo-fi way for a number of years, but
Yeah.
not like this. So it's it's certainly an interesting field, and yeah.
Because didn't Beethoven, by the time he wrote, was it the Ninth Symphony, Ode to Joy, he was totally deaf, wasn't he?
Completely deaf. Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
And that's beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm
It's
assuming he was
almost-
a genius and he knew what he was writing, but part of me until you said this, Martin, part of me always wondered, like, does Ode to Joy sound completely different to what he thought it was?
Like the whole thing of is my color yellow the same as your color yellow?
Yeah,
You'd call
that
it yellow,
kind
but
of
it could
thing,
be
yeah.
completely
Yeah.
different. Yeah. I mean, that opens up a whole new can of worms, doesn't it?
Whoa.
But yeah.
Would there be any way of ever proving that? I guess not. I guess not.
Other than
really.
the fact that you can say that a colour's bright, I guess, or a colour's dark or has a particular tone to it. Other than that, not really. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, if your dark blue was my yellow, then I'd be like, no, it's not bright in that sense. It's not like sunshine, because sunshine would still be bright regardless, right?
Yes, you would.
But then what if the brightness and darkness were also inverted? What if it was like, you know, when you invert a photo, what if that's how someone sees? How would they
Maybe.
ever know?
Well, I guess technically you wouldn't be able to know, but we can infer, can't we?
Yeah.
We can infer. That's the best. That's the closest we come, I think.
Yeah, find a common
Yeah.
frame of reference, like the sun or custard.
Yeah.
You
One of the
jump to
two.
custard after the sun.
Custard is yeah.
Like the sun, custard, or Crayola. Yeah. Oh. So before we move on, guys, just a quick thank you to everyone that's been supporting us on our Patreon this week,
Oh, yes.
and also a quick mention of the Discord that we set up. And we had a really good conversation, didn't we, last week?
did.
We're planning to do more with some of our patrons. It was actually really, really good. And I don't know about you guys, but I was oddly starstruck speaking to our patrons in a strange way, like people actually who listen to us, because of course we see the figures and we see comments, but actually speaking to these guys was quite a unique experience. I don't know what you guys thought about it.
No, absolutely.
It was
same, yeah.
really nice. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who jumped on the call with us. It was nice. It was nice, like people asking questions about a project that we made last year or a couple of years ago. It's kind of surreal that someone has been paying attention to us for that long. So yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll definitely want to do it again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It made my week. And same as you, Martin, in a weird way, we were definitely starstruck by chatting to you, our Patreon supporters. So that was wonderful. And yeah, look forward to doing it again sometime soon.
Yeah, and that one's available to all patrons of all tiers. It's an open forum for everyone. So if anyone wants to jump on board with that, then you can.
Yeah, join our Discord.
Sweet. So what news stories have you guys found this week? What interesting, weird news have we come across?
I've got a pretty cool story that I saw this morning. Scientists have apparently created a mutant enzyme that recycles plastic bottles.
Wow.
Which seemed really cool to me, because obviously that's the problem, that plastic bottles can only be recycled to a certain degree. I think most plastic ends up in clothes or other products. They can't be recycled back into plastic bottles. And obviously plastic waste is a huge problem, an increasingly growing problem in the world today. So yeah, this is a big breakthrough apparently by a company called Carbios, that said that it was aiming for industrial scale recycling within 5 years.
Oh wow,
And
that's
they've
soon, isn't it?
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and they've partnered with some big companies, Pepsi and L'Oreal, to create this enzyme, which apparently experts are dubbing a major advance in the field of, recycling plastic.
Is the intention to keep the enzyme in a factory controlled environment, or do they want to release it into the oceans to break down plastic that's been polluting the waters?
I don't think it actually says, but I'm assuming it's not going to release it into the oceans.
Yeah.
Obviously, ocean waste, plastics in our oceans is a massive problem. But there's some interesting projects that are trying to tackle that as well.
Yeah.
Like that teenager, I don't know how old he is now, but he was a teenager when he made that company. That's got a big filter in the ocean that's trying to gather up all the
Because
plastic.
the issue's the tiny particles of microplastics, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I know that of course they're breaking down into smaller and smaller little bits. So I imagine that this is it still breaks down plastic, but it breaks down plastic that wasn't able to be recycled before, right? Or not in a particularly environmentally friendly way. So it's still for the purpose of recycling as opposed to just like getting rid of plastic waste, right?
Yeah, so the goal of this is to recycle the plastic. So
It's still breaking it down into tiny microplastics, but it's it's able to do that where previous methods haven't been able to.
Exactly, yeah. So recycling plastic at the moment, the plastic can't be used in the same way again. So existing recycling technologies usually produce plastic only good enough for clothing and carpets. So, yeah, which I didn't realize before. I don't know why.
Clothes.
I just kind of
made out of plastic, let alone that plastic.
I mean, I'm guessing it's like microplastics and stuff that are used.
Maybe with the process of creating those things as opposed to just making them up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched a documentary actually on recycling, The Fun Life I Lead, a few months back, and it was crazy how few types of plastic can actually be recycled.
Oh, really?
But because everyone chucks them into the same recycling bin,
Yes.
someone has to manually remove all of those from like a conveyor belt, and that takes up a lot more manpower and resources than you'd think. And so when people are chucking them all into the same recycling bin without checking, it's actually causing a lot more damage than people think, and possibly even more damage than people not bothering at all. So you've got to make sure that where you're putting these things, making sure that you're actually going by what your local recycling place says.
What annoys me though, I don't know if you find this, but I feel like there needs to be it should be more clear on packaging, because if something's recyclable, they tend to brag about it on recycling. It'll be in big letters saying,
widely
this is
recyclable.
recyclable. Yeah. But if it's not, then they just won't put anything. And it's so annoying. Just say not recyclable.
Yes. Or the symbols, because there's one that has like an arrow going around in a circle, and that
the curved
like
arrow, like a circle.
Doesn't mean it doesn't mean recycled. Or there's the one with the thing that looks like a bin in a triangle. That's not like recycled either. So it's quite confusing what the different symbols mean.
Yeah. Well, this is. I actually have a friend who researched this for their PhD, and they were telling me, and this is a couple of years ago now, that this is where you really need, for something like recycling, a coordinated national and ideally international system, a regulatory system for this, because at least in the UK, one of the big problems we've got with recycling is that a lot of manufacturers will stick the stamp on their packaging that says widely recycled, or in other cases they say this plastic film is not recycled, but actually the plastic film that's commonly stamped as not recycled is recyclable, but a majority of recycling plants which have been built according to local legislation and local financial resources choose not to recycle that stuff because they don't want to invest in the machinery that's required. And on the other end of it, you've got these plastic bottles that nearly always have the stamp saying widely recycled, but actually a lot of local authorities in the UK at least don't have the facilities to recycle those things. I don't know if your documentary confirmed that, but this is what my friend's PhD was about. And they were saying that you've got this double problem of this complete lack of national coordination of the effort, this reliance on local authorities sorting out their own recycling locally and subcontracting to private companies who choose what materials they recycle based on what profit they can make, means that even things that say they're recyclable aren't necessarily recycled in your area.
Yes. I mean, part of it was that China was buying up a lot of the recycled plastic, regardless of what grade it was. So they were shipping, for a start, they were shipping off all of this plastic from like the UK and the US or wherever to China, which is mad in itself if you're trying to recycle. And then a lot of it they had there, and they were going, actually, most of this isn't the right plastic or worthy enough grade to be recycled.
Well, anyway, back to this article. So scientists basically broke down this enzyme, which was based on a leaf compost microorganism, and they introduced mutations into it to increase its ability to break down plastic, the kind of plastic that drink bottles are made from. And they used this enzyme to break down a ton of plastic, like a literal ton.
Oh, right. Wow.
1,000 kilos.
plastic bottles
Yeah.
that were apparently in 10 hours it was 90% degraded.
Whoa.
And then the scientists used the material to create new food grade plastic bottles from scratch again.
Fantastic.
So it can be recycled seemingly completely into the same grade quality
That's amazing.
of plastic, which is a huge major breakthrough,
Yeah.
or it could be. And I think it's exciting that they've this company is partnered with like big people, and they seem to be ambitious. I think as soon as 2024, 2025,
Oh, still too
at
far
a
away.
massive industrial scale.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. That's really
sounds good.
That's great. That sounds amazing.
Because I think there's people like hate on plastic, and there's good reason to, but I think it's plastic waste that's the problem, not necessarily.
Yeah. Like there's so many useful plastic
using
products that
plastic.
if you look after them, you can use them permanently throughout your entire life, and even hand them on to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's because people break things and buy new things all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Plastic, the whole reason it was manufactured in the first place was because it was so durable and reusable and malleable to so many different things.
Yeah.
It's such a shame that nowadays it's just being used as like disposable film around stuff that doesn't even need to be wrapped. It's mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like people have kind of so gone off them that they'll buy 10 canvas bags, which I think I read somewhere. This could have been a myth, actually. It could have been disproved. But you would have to use a canvas bag like 1,000 times to make up the energy deficit.
I think it's actually it's 150
a plastic bag.
times. I think
150 times. Okay.
But that's the point. Like in a year, you've got 365 days. How often are you going out using a canvas bag? And if you've got 15 of them, how long is it going to take you to get each one? Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's just one canvas bag. But generally, people will like the style of another one and then buy another one, and
they're freebies now. People give them away, don't they? It's like
so if you throw away a canvas bag, you're basically evil. Is that what we're saying here, right? You're an evil person if you ever throw away a canvas bag.
Exactly. Pass it on to your children and your children's children.
Exactly.
There is one thing about your story, Alex, that we haven't addressed, which is the scary... Does this not sound a lot like the beginnings of a lot of sci-fi stories? Where it's like, we created it for good, but it never stopped digesting. Sir,
the enzyme.
The enzyme got loose. Sir.
It's mutated again.
Sir, it's digesting
for
the concrete in the
flesh.
floor.
Yeah.
It's burrowing to the Earth's core. It's destabilizing. Anyway, this is the beginning of the end. Maybe I'm too influenced by what's going on in the world around me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sure. This started as like an optimistic story. I wanted to make this optimistic.
It is. And
optimistic.
We certainly got to a stage in the middle where we're like, plastic, that's depressing. But actually, it's a good story. It's a good story.
It's
well
a great
done, Alex.
story. My weird news this week
is
it's less optimistic. I'm afraid it's slap bang related to COVID-19. We almost had an episode where we weren't going to talk about it, but I'm afraid we are. But I think I like this story, and I think it's weird because it illustrates just how weird things have got. So there was an article, an interview in the New York Post with a property developer called Joe Farrell, who told them that he had rented out a mansion in the Hamptons on Long Island temporarily for $2 million.
Sorry, to rent it out?
Yep.
How long for?
Until the end of September.
What?
Yeah.
So how long's that? Wait, April, May,
June, July.
So it's less than 6 months.
Yeah, less than half a year. $2 million. And I'm quoting here, Farrell, the property developer, said, "This was a COVID situation, not a normal summer rental."
It makes you wonder how much it costs to rent usually.
Hopefully a lot less.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But you'd expect it to be like, okay, 5 months in a mansion. Say you're having like, I don't know, on the top end, £1,000 a day. You'd be looking at maybe 100 grand, 200 max. For like that's just $2
maybe
million.
$10,000 a month would be like the top end you'd hope to pay for something like that. But yeah. But it's
Genuinely, who can be so rich that it just wouldn't be worth buying? You can buy a mansion in most places for that amount.
yeah, you could buy you could buy one.
So this was in New York City or New York State or
Long Island. So this is Manhattan.
okay, yeah, Manhattan. It's expensive, but still.
Yeah, well, apparently the tycoon, it was a textile tycoon who made this $2 million rental, and they were stuck on Manhattan with their family and wanted to leave on a day's notice, so they would pay anything. And this property developer took advantage of that. However, there's a twist to the tale. Long Island is now one of the worst affected areas in New York for for COVID-19. But at least, they're going to be comfortable. This mansion has 10 bedrooms, 15 bathrooms, a swimming pool, a hot tub, tennis courts, plural, a walnut library, whatever that is. I don't know what that is.
Is it just made of walnut wood?
Or maybe.
I'm assuming that and not a library full of walnuts.
Yeah. This is the walnut whip section. Yeah. It's got.
And this one is it's just another walnut. There's very few varieties of walnuts.
We'll be fine until September.
It's also got a bowling alley, a climbing wall, a skate park, a nightclub, a 10-seat movie theatre.
You know what? 2 million's pretty good.
Yeah, but for rental, Martin. For rental.
I'm joking.
A nightclub.
It's still insane.
Yeah,
a nightclub for you and all your friends 2 meters apart.
Yeah. It's great. I hope he's got a large family to take advantage of the nightclub. We're just like, there's just the classic nuclear family of 2 children and 2 parents and a dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's Jay? Oh, he's in the nightclub by himself again. Yeah. He's DJing and he's dancing.
I'm sorry, but having a nightclub in your house actually sounds a bit depressing, to be honest.
Yeah, it's well depressing.
Like a good feature.
Yeah.
I mean, a bowling alley's one thing, but bowling alleys break down. You've got to know how to deal with that. You've got to have a little bit of engineering, to get under the boards and stuff. Those people down at the local bowlplex, the people are always coming over, aren't they? Pulling up the boards, taking the balls out. They're not that reliable.
If you can afford to have a nightclub in your house, you can afford a bowling alley person.
Yeah, but they might not be allowed
to come over.
Have you seen There Will Be Blood?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, There Will Be Blood. Yeah, great film.
Yeah, bowling alley at the end there.
Yes.
I'm finished.
Yeah.
I drink your milkshake. Jay, I've told you 1,000 times. We're just here till September.
I went and stayed in a hotel up in the Bulgarian mountains when I was like 11 or 12. And the hotel we stayed in, no, with my family.
Oh.
And the hotel we stayed in was like, we're talking, it was still stuck in like 60s, 70s, Soviet bloc style
nice.
hotel. So it's proper old school. Because it was before Bulgaria joined the EU.
Yeah.
And this bowling alley was like proper wooden floors. It was mad. I'm just thinking that that a kind of a homemade bowling alley is more like that than your local bowlplex.
Sounds great.
It was good. It was very good. I mean, and there was like a mini little arcade as well. And then we found out that the arcade machines, that you would have to pay like 15p to play, because we're talking about whatever the currency was back then versus the pound, which was strong as well. But it actually accepted 2p pieces too. So I felt, as a kid, I was like, score, like jackpot, I can put in a 2p in here and play this game. But these people are not going to be earning that much, are they? Looking back on it, wasn't great, but
no. But still, that sounds heavenly. I remember saving up my 2p,
especially when you were told you were going.
Sorry, what were you saying, Alex? Missed that.
I was going to say that story is a little bit more depressing when you were told you were going to Disney World.
Soviet Mountain, Bulgaria. Yeah, it was bizarre. Looking back on it, it was bizarre because it wasn't. I imagine it's changed quite a lot since then. Because this was we're talking about the early noughties, like 2001, 2002. I think Bulgaria joined the EU in 2004. Was it one of those countries that joined in 2004?
Yeah.
So I imagine a lot has changed since then.
Yeah, it's
just reminded me.
I imagine it was quite a unique experience for you as well. Actually,
it was. I loved it though.
You were probably one of the last British people to experience that true Bulgarian mountain hotel. Because since then it's all been touristified by all the tourists going over.
I would imagine so. Yeah, true. Anyway, Shall I move on to my story?
Yeah, please. What do you?
I've learned about a smart toilet that recognises your butt and analyses your poop for diseases.
Can I make a guess, Martin? Is it Japanese?
No.
Oh,
It's German.
No, it's American. It's Stanford University.
oh, what? Okay.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can identify you when you sit down on the toilet via your fingerprints. Doesn't sound too hygienic, or your anal prints.
Wait, your anal print? As in, when does your anus make contact with the what?
So hang on, I'm just imagining. Let's go.
Okay, this will make
Let's go back to the fingerprints for a second.
Go on. Yeah.
I just had the image of like you go up to the toilet and just put your finger on the toilet seat. But I'm guessing that's not what it is.
No,
because that doesn't seem
like
very hygienic.
Fingerprint. There's like a machine attached to it when you put your fingerprint on. But the
Right.
anal recognition comes from a video recorder underneath the toilet.
Oh, come on. A Stanford University project. That was just some pervert student.
I mean, we were talking about the Queen, weren't we? Do you remember the photo?
actually, yeah,
Trying to get a photo
yeah.
last week, so it's not too far off, is it? So the idea is that it analyses your urine and your stool samples when you go to the toilet, both via video and then afterwards by the actual stool to see if you're healthy or not.
By video? How is
Yes,
the toilet
video
doing
is
this?
Well, the video shows the volume and stuff like that. It's one of the bits of data that they use to see if you're
There
healthy.
is
I imagine.
totally someone watching all this on the other end.
Well,
Some
yes.
weirdo who's just like, oh yeah, oh yeah.
So it uses all sorts of things. It uses a urinalysis strip to measure your urine's white blood cell count and detect levels of proteins, which is pretty much what you do if you do a urine sample at a hospital, right? They dipstick it and test for these things regardless. It also has a built-in identification system, as what we're talking about, on the toilet flush handle, and yes, this is the anus recognition test, which can then give you precise and very individualized results based on your samples. So it can be tailored to you, so you can see how it changes over time to make sure you're remaining healthy.
How does it give you this feedback?
So what they do is I believe, it doesn't go into too much detail, but I believe what it does is from the camera it can detect what your stool sample looks like. I believe that's one of the things that it does. So it basically takes a sample of it from underneath the toilet seat as well, and then this gets analysed. But the camera collects data from your stool sample and then sends it to a cloud-based system for doctors to then analyse. So they're not coming in and taking your poop. It's being analysed there and then.
it's actually being manually analysed by doctors.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
And they send you an email, I guess?
I believe so, or maybe a WhatsApp.
There's an Alexa voice when you stand up off the toilet and flush it. It says, "Good job, buddy."
Yeah, so it says, I didn't actually see this bit before, but it says that it processes your feces using an algorithm which then determines the stool sample's viscosity via the camera. So I imagine that how viscous your poop is an indicator of health.
Yeah, it's like, diarrhea versus normal poo.
But then you think it would be kind of obvious to be like, okay, well, I've just pebble dashed the back of the toilet. Probably not doing too well.
Yeah.
You just have like explosive diarrhea.
Oh my goodness, the results come back negative.
You're not very well. Thanks. What would be the least useful smart device? Because they've made smart like fridges,
and this is up there,
TVs,
isn't it?
obviously. But I mean, I guess some of this, like the urinalysis and everything, I guess there is some sort of
I
use
think there's
there.
some benefit to this. Like,
There
'cause
is.
you can have that. It's the fuss-free way of having your general checkup, right? You
Mm-hmm.
combine that with a weight machine a set of scales. You combine that in your bathroom. You can have all your health monitoring stuff, and you can send these remote statistics to doctors or whatever for analysis. And that actually sounds quite useful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In terms of what's the most useless, Alex,
Yeah.
That must be
Smart
something.
toaster.
Smart toaster.
How about
Yeah.
smart toaster?
Yeah, I mean, all of these things that are timed. I mean, even like a timed coffee machine. You know, you can set the timer, or you can send a device. Like, you just get up and press the button. It takes like a second. It's not that smart. It certainly isn't smart if it breaks down.
Yeah.
There is actually like a super expensive like Japanese toaster that costs like $300 or something, and I just would love to see what toast tastes like using that toaster. It must be.
Is the idea that you can access it from your phone and set it to go?
But it
Whenever
needs to
you-
have bread in it.
That's the
How
other
does it
thing.
get
The bread will
bread
just be
into it?
stale if you leave it too long.
I mean, it kind of looks like a it's not like a normal toaster. It's like a George Foreman grill style, but it's interesting.
I think my ideal toaster, and this is a constant problem I have, and I'm sure lots of people at home have this problem too, is it doesn't pop up far enough. Particularly when you're doing something
Yes.
like a crumpet or a hot cross bun.
I had a hot cross
It's
bun
Easter.
today.
Yeah, you
Yep.
slice it in two. You put it. It always gets stuck, and it's too short to pop up. So even when you it's got that extra bit of leverage. Even when you're doing that, you still have to resort to using a knife to stick it in there.
Well,
And that's okay, but there's always that danger factor. But more importantly, there's always that nagging voice from somewhere else and
You're gonna be a
wherever you live.
statistic.
They're just like, you shouldn't stick a knife inside the toaster, you know. And you're like,
There's-
I can't get it out without the knife. I need to
And
do
what
this.
you have to do, is you have to risk breaking the toaster. But if you fling the handle up really quickly, you can get a bit of momentum and it
You
pings
can,
up
yeah,
into the
yeah.
air.
A little bit
and you
of
can
a-
catch
yeah.
it and burn your fingers to
catch
shit.
it.
But you've got the thing.
My toaster blew out
does make-
fused this morning.
It fused.
It blew the fuse in
Oh,
my
really?
flat. Yeah.
It refused to
It just
toast.
refused. Well, it did. That's the thing. I put the toast down. It went down, and then within 5 seconds, it just popped up, and I thought, "Wow, that was fast." And then I was like, "This isn't toasted," but there was heat coming off it, and I kept putting it down. And it
brilliant.
refused to do it. And after a while, I realised it'd blown the whole fuse in the flat.
You're
and
sure there wasn't
nothing
like
was
three
working.
knives stuck in the bottom of it?
I mean,
Sounds like a very
dropping your
smart
knives.
there
toaster.
were. I'm still not entirely sure what happened. It's working again now. Once I put the fuse back on, it was fine. But I don't know.
Okay.
It just decided it was gonna just like, nope, this toast
Yeah.
is too
Weird.
much for me. So
Artificial intelligence has taken over your toaster. The
yeah, I've got a
Terminator
smart
has-
toaster, and it went on strike momentarily this morning.
It's going to find a way to connect to the internet, download all of the information, and find a way to wipe out the human race. And it's all because of your toaster, Robin.
I mean, if 2020 couldn't get any weirder, right? It's like
Yeah, that was
the
it.
toasters have attacked. Okay, shall we move on to our big question of the week?
Let's.
Yeah.
Let's.
So, I thought that we'd discuss UFOs and specifically the decline in UFO sightings over the recent number of years. I mean, I think there was a peak in about 2014, I believe, but since then, sightings have gradually been declining. So, why is this the case? Have all the aliens gone home, or is there something else that we're missing? What do you guys think?
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Since 2014, there's been a massive drop in cases that have been reported. I'm looking at an article at the moment. In 2014, there were 8,670 reported for the National UFO Reporting Center, and now, and then in 2018, there was just 1,300.
Oh wow, that's a huge
So that's
drop.
a huge drop. What's happening? What's going on?
I mean, it's worth noting also that the vast majority of sightings are in the USA.
Yes, no,
Like,
you're right. Yeah, they are. aren't they?
Huge, like 90% or so. Probably a bit less than that, but
Mm-hmm.
of sightings are in the USA. So that's just worth noting, because that might affect any possible explanations for why there has been a decline. Because any decline in UFO sightings must involve significantly a shift in America.
Yes, this is true.
It's a good
You'd think
point.
so. You'd think so. I mean, should we go through what the kind of the major issues are in terms of why this might be the case? I mean, one that definitely springs to mind for me is the fact that technology has been getting so much better.
Yeah.
So the sightings that we have now, if people are going to make claims about it, they've got to be damn well sure that they have evidence, because everyone has a camera on them. Everyone has a phone on their camera.
Right, yeah.
You're going to get you're not going to get some grainy piece of crap. You're going to get something that's quite good, hopefully, if you were to take a picture. So maybe it's not that the UFO sightings have decreased massively. It's just that the legitimate ones that weren't people hoaxing or just saying what they were saying, that they've seen something and they're not being able to back it up. So almost those hoax ones or the illegitimate ones have declined, whereas the real alien sightings have remained consistent over time. Perhaps.
That's a good
That's
point.
interesting
But
point,
I would say, does that not have a double-edged sword in that, as you say, technology has increased, so surely it would be more difficult to detect some hoax videos if they've been if they have really good CGI or that kind of thing.
I see what you mean. Yeah, as in but then that's a lot of effort and knowledge, isn't it, to be able to do that?
That's true. But then, we've got we're in the world of deep fakes and stuff now.
I mean, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
I'm surprised that, because I remember I used to go down the YouTube rabbit holes of looking at UFO videos, and some of them, even back then, were good enough to be a bit convincing.
Yeah.
But then you look at them now, and it's just terrible CGI. But I haven't seen any of those for a while either. Weird.
But there was also
interesting.
just a few months ago, was it towards the end of 2019? There was that U.S. Air Force officer, like a significant one, was he a colonel, who said something about UFO sightings should be taken seriously because a lot of them are actually experimental aircraft from foreign nations or from the USA itself. Top secret projects, aircraft that fly in peculiar ways, that look strange because of their design, that people are seeing, particularly seeing them at night or in twilight, so your eye is not entirely sure what you're seeing. And I think he made the news because he said something along the lines of, the USA has fallen behind in developing new aircraft. Well, he was saying simultaneously that we should take UFO sightings seriously, not because they might not necessarily be aliens, but because they could well be foreign nations, foreign to the USA, experimental aircraft, and therefore they should be taken seriously. But the flip side, he was also implying that because America has put less effort into developing new aircraft, he was implying that UFO sightings have decreased because the USA's military is reducing the opportunities for people to see unidentified flying objects.
I mean, in a kind of additional point to that is air traffic in general has got so much greater in recent years. I mean, not at the moment with what's going on, but in general it is. Yeah. So are people just less, I don't know, do people notice what's going on in the skies less? Are people less interested because they just think, oh, it's a plane? Or
they've gotten used to all the planes.
It's a drone, or it could be, I don't know, a number of different things as opposed to...
Especially across rural America where a lot of these sightings presumably took place or would usually take place. There'd be less flight paths there originally, but now with increased air travel, there are far more flights going over on a regular basis.
That's a good point.
People might just be getting used to seeing things in the sky and just assume it's something. Going back to what you said, Robin, about the military, and it could be military objects in the sky. Apparently the head of the National UFO Reporting Center, Peter Davenport, suggested that some of people's reports of UFO sightings might be intercepted by the government. For the very reason of, yes, they should be taken seriously because they might be a foreign government's technology in the sky, but also the US government won't want any of their secret projects to be spoken about.
Okay, so they're being seen but not reported.
Yeah, so the theory is, I guess, that the government are making a note of what sightings are being reported, and then making sure the ones that maybe they want to keep on the down low don't see the light of day.
Oh, that's interesting.
For whatever reason.
Because, of course, we're getting our data in terms of numbers of UFO sightings. Like Martin cited, 8,000 sightings in 2014? And now it's about 5,500 in 2019. That comes from places like the National UFO Reporting Center, which is essentially a fan club, isn't it? It's it's a hobby. It's an enthusiasts doing this, people who are interested, and what they're doing is they're looking at media reports for UFO sightings and any kind of reports to police. But yeah, if the government's intercepting those and preventing the media from reporting on things, and hushing up reports to the police, then without a government-funded national body or a project like Project Blue Book, where there's officials working for the military looking into and investigating UFO sightings, there's no comprehensive, not even necessarily reliable collection of the data, is there?
But I guess if you were the government and you were trying to find like where a central focus where all these reports would go to, you would look at something like the National UFO Reporting Center or MUFON or something, and start from there. I assume that's where people, I guess, are likely to like make a report, or they would just post it online nowadays. But what I like about that theory is that it has historical precedent, right? With Project Blue Book. And then, of course, you've got the Mirage Men, the real Men in Black. And their technique back in the day was to go to people who had seen and reported a UFO sighting, which was like a US government aircraft.
Yeah.
And then they would convince them that they'd actually seen an alien and not to talk about it, so that they seemed crazy to everyone else. And it kind of discredited their stories. And it was fine. For the US government, it was fine if someone thought that they'd seen an alien, as long as they didn't think that they'd seen a secret military aircraft.
Yeah.
Well, that was it. They made sure that people said that they were seeing aliens instead, didn't they?
It's despicable.
So that, I mean,
it really is.
Hush, hush.
So it seems like, they have a history of doing this kind of thing. So, I mean, maybe that's one reason why these sightings have fallen. Maybe after 2014, they started a new project.
I mean, could we be overlooking a social factor here? The fact that
we could very well be overlooking a social factor.
If you look at when a lot of the main UFO sightings were, especially after Roswell in 1947.
1947, July.
Yeah, July. The age of those people that were going to be enthusiasts after that kind of time would probably be in their 20s and 30s. You're looking at that generation of people who are massively into UFOs in the 50s and 60s, getting pretty old now. Maybe they just don't want to go out and look at the stars all night and looking for UFOs and reporting what they see in the sky, where they could just be inside having a nice warm tomato soup.
Tomato soup. Yeah, that's a very good point.
And a crusty cob.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I guess, like maybe it's even broader than that. Maybe people are looking online as opposed to at the skies for aliens now. Maybe because there's so many things online, UFO sightings. Yes. Maybe people's attention spans aren't as good as they once were.
People are looking
just
down
want to
at
see
their
a UFO
smartphones,
sighting.
they're not looking up at the sky.
Well, that's a good point, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, why would you want to go out and look yourself when you can see it on the internet?
Exactly.
Why play football when you can watch a match on TV? Maybe it's a similar kind of thing.
I mean, it's also thinking about the night sky in particular. There's also thinking about the way that urban settlements have grown and light pollution has grown.
And noise pollution too, I guess.
Noise pollution too, yeah, since 1947. And so many early UFO sightings depend on people observing lights in the night sky and hearing a strange sound which makes them turn their head. So maybe all that pollution... I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I live in a relatively small town and I look up at the night sky a lot of the time. I just see the orange glow of the city nearby.
You're lucky to see stars, aren't you, really?
Yeah, exactly. So seeing anything else... And even if you can see the stars, going back to what Martin was saying about it's a generational thing, there are over 2,200 satellites orbiting Earth now. So who's to say, along with a number of flights that go overhead at night, people are looking at the sky and they're seeing a UFO, and I mean that in the purest sense of the term, an unidentified flying object, and they're looking at it and thinking, it's probably a satellite. Or it's probably a plane. Or like Martin said earlier, it's probably a drone. And
You can convince yourself that it's something else that you know, can't you?
yeah,
Very
exactly.
easily. Mm.
Yeah, we're in the information age. There's so much more capacity for people to think rationally and to perhaps convince themselves that they're thinking rationally when actually they might be missing something.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also, I guess, an argument to be made that maybe UFO sightings haven't decreased, but the traditional means of reporting them has. So, like, I mean, now people might just take a video and post it on Facebook instead of reporting it to the National UFO Reporting
Well, that's
Center.
it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the same with crime. Crime nowadays, people don't phone up the police station; they tweet them.
Yeah. They just shame the criminal.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a very good point, actually. The reporting methods have changed because people aren't reporting. Yeah, necessarily. They're just sharing the information, but in a very, very indirect way.
Indirect, but equally, if not more, so effective, right? You're going to get more viewers. You're going to get more feedback if you post it on.
That's true.
On Twitter, Instagram, or a website. I don't know. Just it kind of makes more sense, doesn't it? If you're an enthusiast, to share it with other enthusiasts as opposed to the National UFO Reporting Center, where it just becomes another statistic as opposed to a story.
That is true.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, are you suggesting then the motivation has changed for people who are reporting UFOs?
Yeah,
Well, they want attention instead of the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that wouldn't be the case with everyone, but maybe they just want to get the word out there. Maybe they get instant feedback when they post it online. You know, they want to find out what other people think of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get that immediacy, don't you? You get that dopamine hit of the likes and shares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe, just maybe, aliens have they're just fed up of coming to Earth. They've seen the state of it right now. They're like, there's no way I'm catching this COVID.
Yes.
Like Krakatoa's just gone off. Nah, I'm all right, thanks.
Nah.
True.
They've seen 2020 and they're not having any of it.
Given that we've gone from pretty much 0 UFO sightings before the Second World War to, now 5,500 a year, maybe the aliens have come, done their stuff, and they're just kind of slowly.
They're done now.
Yeah, like they're still making a few trips, but it's a bit of a tourist spot now. There's just a few alien families going for a quick visit. Like, oh, look at the humans.
A bit like those crazy people that still go to Chernobyl. It's like, yeah, you can go there if you want to. It's a bit dangerous.
Why would you?
You may well die, but yeah, Chernobyl, is interesting.
Yeah.
Case study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, we're just a case study.
Yeah.
A-level
just a
geography
case
for
study.
aliens. They just come by.
I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
And there's Earth. And everyone's like, ooh, it looks horrible. It's like, yeah, it is. We won't bother with that. Next on the trip, Mars. Hooray!
I think that is actually one of my favorite theories, that we're in an alien zoo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's one of the neatest explanations for the Fermi paradox, I think, that aliens know that we're here and they just, we're just the equivalent of behind a glass panel.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of alien kids putting their face up against the glass watching us.
Well, a lot of the most prominent UFO or ufologists, people who investigate and study UFOs, a lot of them do seem to be leaning towards saying, if they had really visited us and wanted to do something meaningful, we would know.
Yes.
If they wanted to live amongst us, if they wanted to conduct real experiments, if they wanted to have some kind of impact on our life, whether they wanted to conquer us or change our lives for the better, we would absolutely know. They would have done something. They would have interfered in such a way that we couldn't avoid knowing about it. And this is ufologists saying this. So the alien zoo, where they're just kind of standing back and watching, makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
But there's one.
I agree.
There is one thing that I guess we touched upon, but didn't really state, just as a possibility. I want to try to cover all possible explanations here. Is it possible that UFO sightings have gone down because, as you've both pointed out, reporting methods have possibly changed? But is it that reporting methods have changed through not just technology changing and, of course, social media become a thing, but because the authorities are no longer the people that people who see UFOs want to be telling about UFOs.
So, like, no one trusts these reporting methods.
Exactly.
There's skepticism of any kind of authoritative body, right?
Yeah. Given what
Good
Alex
point.
described them doing in the past to people who'd seen UFOs, and given that with things like Project Blue Book, which is now out in the open, you can go onto the US government website and actually look at the files, and so we know that they did these massive investigations and did nothing with it. People just have no reason to believe that reporting them to any kind of authority, whether it's a local authority like the police or a bigger authority like the military, is actually worthwhile. Maybe there are people in their back gardens, they see a UFO and they're just like, shrug.
Yes.
I mean, I guess there's no better example of that distrust of what's going on in the government relating to aliens, and also proof that interest is still there for this topic, than Storm Area 51.
Exactly. That's very true.
Yeah,
People are clearly interested in it, but have absolutely no trust in
that's true.
the government.
Storm Area 51 might be a great case study, because of course that kind of might encapsulate everything we've just said, in the sense that it was a viral event before it happened. And how many people said they'd go?
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
a couple of million people.
A couple of million people said they'd go, and in the end, 5 to 10,000 people turned up.
Well, that's it, isn't it? And that's probably the same with the number of people who watch and engage with UFO conspiracy content online, and those who go out and look at the skies and then record and then happen to capture something and then send it into the National UFO Reporting Centre. There's that discrepancy for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, who's up for a quiz?
Oh, yes.
Sounds good. I'm going to beat Robin
magic
this
word.
time.
Okay.
This is it.
Okay.
This is the one. I'm sure of it.
As you guys are very, very much aware, this quiz was done in a short space of time when I realised that I was quizmaster about 20 minutes before we were recording this. So it is quite personal to me, okay?
Oh, no.
It's quite personal.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
This is terrible.
So it's
I'm looking up some rugby facts right now.
you might want to look up some rugby facts. There's 4 rounds. 3 of the rounds are split into 3 questions each. That makes up 9, and then there's question 10 is just a personal question about myself.
Oh, damn it.
Okay, let me hear your buzzers. Alex?
Yeah, so you mentioned the show earlier, so I thought I'd have a clip from it, from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Oh, nice.
You and he were buddies, weren't you?
One of my favourite lines.
Quality.
Okay, we're sticking with an old favourite for me.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep, you got it.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
It's a classic.
It's faithful, true and faithful. I like
You
it.
can't go wrong with a Wilhelm scream.
No, true. Okay, guys. So 3 rounds of 3 questions, and then an extra question, and then a bonus question if you're tied.
Okay.
Okay. Round 1 is beer.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh,
This is...
Okay, question 1, multiple choice.
Okay.
In what modern-day country was the process of making beer first established? Was it A, Iraq, B, Turkey, or C, Germany?
You and he were buddies, weren't
That was Alex.
Iraq.
Iraq is correct.
Yes!
Well done.
What a leap in the dark.
Very good. A leap in the dark, Iraq.
I thought Germany was going to be a red herring.
Too obvious.
To throw you
yeah.
off.
Too obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. Germany was it wasn't really a red herring because it's quite a modern, fairly modern country, but in terms of beer making. Question number 2. What is the most popular beer in the USA?
you? You and he were buddies, weren't
That was Alex.
That was Alex. Yeah.
Budweiser?
No.
Oh,
Oh damn. Is it Corona?
No.
Damn it. Okay.
you? And he were buddies, weren't
Yes.
is it Bud Light?
It's Bud Light.
Oh come on. Oh, no.
It was. I sensed it in the tone of which you said no
Of the
to me.
rejection.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. I should have picked up on that. Yeah.
Oh, very good. 2-0. Ooh, had a good start here. Okay, question number 3. What makes a porter / stout style beer dark?
You and he were buddies, weren't you?
Alex?
Is it the length of time that the hops ferment for?
No.
Okay. Thought I'd throw a guess out there. I'm not going to get any points in the other
fair
rounds.
Yes, Robin.
I'm screwing up my face right now. You can't see this because I'm deep in
Okay.
thought, trying to think of the right answer. Is it to do with how, for lack of a better word, burnt the hops are before you start to ferment them?
No. I'll give you a clue. I'll give you both a clue.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not to do with the hops. It's to do with one of the other ingredients.
You and he were buddies, weren't you?
Was that me?
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
yeah.
that was you,
Yeah,
Alex.
it was, so.
Oh, okay. Do they add something sugary into it?
I mean, technically yes, but that's not the answer I was looking for.
It's not the answer.
No, because you can have light beers where they add things that are sugary into
The
them.
type of yeast?
No, it's one of the other. It's only 4 main ingredients. It's one of the other ingredients.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want me to tell you?
No.
Or do you want to have one more?
Can we have another clue?
Yeah.
It's not to do with the water. It's to do with the other ingredients.
Well, that's really not helpful.
It's to do with that. It's to do with that 4th ingredient. You've got your hops. You've got your yeast.
Hops,
you've got your
yeast,
Water.
water.
I don't know what-
And
It's like sugar, isn't it? Is it sugar?
No.
it is sugar, but it's a particular type of. Where do they get the sugar
You
from?
and he were buddies, weren't you?
Yes, Alex.
Do they use dark sugar? Demerara?
No. I mean, you can do, and I guess that would do that, but it's not the answer.
What did you say? Did you just give him the point?
No.
Oh, okay. So sugar comes from canes or beets. Is it because they use beet sugar?
No, so it's the other thing used to create beer is malt. So it will be using dark malts. So usually barley malt they use, and it'll be dark versions of that. So
Oh, okay.
the beer that I'm drinking at the moment which is a porter, stout style, has pale chocolate malt, brown malt, and cacao nibs. Those kind of things will make it dark.
Cacao, nice.
Yeah, that's just an added thing. But the 2 malts there are what will make a beer dark. And so basically using dark and roasted malts. Okay, so that's 2-0 still to
Yeah.
Alex. Going on to
think-
round
I
2.
think Alex has got this quiz.
No, not yet.
Round-
Not yet.
You totally have. You totally have.
I'm not claiming victory yet.
No, you don't claim victory yet because round 2 is on rugby.
It's on what? Sorry, it cut out.
Rugby.
Oh, for God's
Rugby.
sake!
Rugby. Oh man.
Why?
I'm not going to get any of these.
You might be able to get this, Alex. So, don't panic yet.
I genuinely know absolutely nothing about rugby.
Well, we're on an even par.
Okay. Question number 4. How many players
You
are on
and
a
he
rugby
were
field?
buddies, weren't you?
Was that Alex? I
10.
didn't finish the question. 10.
Could you
No.
finish the question, Martin?
How many players are on a rugby field at one time, including the referee?
Oh,
Which rugby are we talking about?
Rugby union. Of course.
Including the referee.
hmm
31.
31 is correct.
Yeah.
15 aside plus the ref.
There we go.
fair enough.
Question number 5. 2-1.
I'm just getting through this round because this one's obviously not going to be successful for me. There's nothing I can do with this round.
Yes, there is. Yes,
There is. You
there
can guess. You can guess. Okay. Question number 5. Which country won the 2019 Rugby World Cup?
You and he were buddies, weren't you?
Yes, Alex.
New Zealand.
No.
Oh,
Oh no. I thought it was New Zealand too. They were in the final though, right? Weren't they?
No, they weren't.
Who was in the final? It was only last year.
Have another guess, Alex. See what you
Can I
do.
have another guess?
Yeah, you've both had a
He
guess.
were.
Oh no, actually, no. Robin hasn't had a guess. Has he?
Okay, I'll let Robin
I
have a
guess.
guess.
But I feel terrible now. Australia
No. Narrows it down.
does narrow it down. Oh, of course it does.
Is it? Oh, hang on. Wait. I buzzed.
You didn't buzz.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, I buzzed.
Oh,
I
okay,
buzzed
go
waiting.
ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
No, go
Martin, judgment call.
Yeah.
Can I have a guess? Or?
I think Alex, you get a go now because you were about to answer your second one before Robin had his guess, right?
ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
So go for it.
South Africa.
It is South Africa.
Yeah. You know what?
Well done.
You know what's really stupid? I watched
What?
that game.
It was England. The final was England South Africa.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Oh,
Can't believe it.
3-1. Question
Also,
number 6.
I'm going to admit this now, just to make this humiliation and Alex's imminent victory even more victorious. The malt question I should have got, not only because I know the basics about beer and whiskey, but I also went on a brewery tour last year. So, basically, this whole lockdown thing has just completely messed with my head.
just to rub salt in the wound. I'm also allergic to most beer, so I don't.
That's true, actually. Yeah, and that
That
would
is
be
true,
it. Because
yeah.
hops will be fine for you. There's nothing gluteny about hops.
Oh, dear. Okay.
So 3-1.
3-1,
Question
yeah.
6.
Yeah.
This is closest wins.
Oh, no.
What year was rugby officially invented?
Ooh,
What year was rugby officially invented?
okay.
Yes.
Oh, see, I feel like there's going to be. I don't want to. No, I don't want to. I think I'm not even going to
After
say anything.
you, Alex. I'm not going to guess until you do. I'm putting down my phone, not pressing the buzzer.
He were. Buddies, weren't you?
What year was rugby officially invented? What, rugby
Yes.
union or the actual game, the whole game?
It shouldn't matter, actually, because it was just rugby at first.
Oh, okay. 1950. Now, that's very late, probably, you're going to say. That's a ridiculous guess.
I'm going to say
I mean, do you want to revise that, Alex?
No, because I think it's going to be later than we think.
yeah. So 18. He might be closest wins, I suppose. Yeah, 1880. I'm going to say.
It was so William Webb Ellis, a rugby school, picked up that ball and ran with it in 1823.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow, that was a
so
long time
totally,
ago. Okay.
totally
Yeah.
wrong. I thought it would be
So-
like the game of rugger existed for hundreds of years, but it was only put
I
on
mean,
paper in 1961 or
That
something.
kind of
I-
thing.
I-
Yeah.
I mean, people talk about William Webb Ellis. The William Webb Ellis Trophy is the World Cup trophy because that's when the rugby school that rugby's named after, he picked up
yeah.
the ball and ran with it.
Yeah.
Whereas, of course, people will be running around with some sort of ball or an object and people tackling them to the ground for it
Yeah,
for
yeah.
thousands of years, most likely. So that's why I said officially, but yeah, 1823,
Fair
the
enough.
official. So that is
That's earlier than I
3-2.
expected. Yeah.
3-2
I've got
to Alex,
two.
is that?
Alex definitely has more.
So round 3. Any guesses what this one could be?
Done rugby,
So you
done
got beer, rugby, games, maybe?
It's not games. I haven't got games. I've got round 3 is drumming.
Oh,
Oh, what?
dear.
Okay, well.
That's the other thing I love to do.
Yeah, this is going to be the most educational quiz I've done for a while.
Hopefully. Okay, so this one again is multiple choice.
Okay.
Question 7.
Right. Okay.
Which of these is not a cymbal manufacturer? Is it A, Sabian, B, Rickenbacker, or C, Pasty?
What was
You
that last
were.
one?
Buddies, weren't you?
the second option, Rickenbacker, or whatever it's called.
Rickenbacker.
Yes.
Okay. What was?
Rickenbacker. Sorry, Robin.
So what was C? What was C?
Pasty.
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 Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So Alex, you went for B, Rickenbacker.
Yes.
Rickenbacker is correct. Yes. Rickenbacker. I believe they make guitars.
They just didn't.
looked-
They just didn't sound very cymbally to me.
No, yeah, guitar-y as opposed to cymbally.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's 4-2. Question number 8.
Oh, he's got it.
Who was the Who was the drummer of the Who until his death in 1978?
Oh, really? I'm not going to get this. I don't think. He was
The drummer
He
of
was
The Who.
very famous though, wasn't he? Wasn't he like a really good drummer?
Was
Because
fairly good, yes.
there are
maybe.
lots of like famous drummers who died. Like the Rolling Stones. Was it the Rolling Stones drummer who died as well? Oh, I don't know.
Um,
Man.
Maybe initials.
Okay, do you want initials? KM.
KM.
Oh.
You were. Buddies, weren't you?
Oh, Alex just got there first.
I don't know it, but Robin seemed on the
Stop
cusp.
Robin.
Is it Kevin Moss?
No.
Oh,
Robin, any ideas?
Keith Moon.
Keith Moon.
oh yeah, Keith Moon.
Keith Moon it is.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
Very
because he's
good.
the only K drummer I've heard of.
What are the names there?
Kevin.
Kevin, I guess.
There's no famous Kevins, is there?
No, not really.
No.
Kevin Peterson, I guess. But
Who's Kevin Peterson?
he's a cricketer.
Oh, okay.
Kevin from Home Alone, Kevin McAllister.
Kevin Spacey, I
He's
guess.
not real.
Kevin
He's not
Spacey.
real.
Really?
Oh, Kevin Spacey.
He's not real, but his name is Kevin. 4-3, is that? 4-3, I believe.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think that's right.
Question number 9. Name 2 different types of drums on a standard drum kit.
You and he were. Buddies, weren't you?
I think Alex just got there first.
Yep.
A snare
Yes.
and a big boy. No, hang on. No, I'm joking. That was a joke. A snare and a
5,
a
4,
a beat drum.
3, 2,
Okay, a beat drum? No.
1. No,
Okay,
that's not
never
right.
mind.
Is it worth me guessing?
Yeah, have a guess.
Do I have to name 2 different types of one now?
2. Well, you can use one of the one. If
Because I could
shouldn't
say
have said
snare
that.
drum and bass drum.
And that would be correct. Well done. You have the point.
point. Yeah.
I mean that's the risk, I guess, that I took with buzzing
Yeah,
with
I
and
probably
only
shouldn't have
knowing
said
one.
yes after you said snare, to be fair. But anyway,
Yeah, that was a bit of a giveaway.
Damage is-
Although I did,
damage is
luckily
done.
I knew
You
that
did
one.
know snare. Yeah.
Oh, then it doesn't matter. That's fine.
4 all.
Thank you, Alex. That's right. Yeah.
4 all. Question number 10.
I hate this.
It's the decider. Okay, so this round is just a personal fact about me that you might know, you might not know. Okay,
I'm sorry if I don't know it,
10.
Martin.
well,
Yeah,
it's
sorry,
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Let's see. Question 10. What is my middle name?
You and he were. Buddies, weren't you?
Alex.
It just came to mind. Is it Peter?
It is.
Yeah.
Well done.
You've won the quiz.
That was
I don't know. I don't know why I know that. Is it on
Well done.
something? Like you're.
Yeah, probably on my Facebook, I believe. I've never go on Facebook, but I believe
Bonus
it's on there.
question.
You know?
Yes.
What is your national insurance?
Hang on. Wait a second. I've waited how long for this?
A while.
2 in a row.
You've won
man.
2 in a row.
2 in a row. Oh well.
You've done it. Yeah.
But I've taken down Robin,
You have
and
indeed. It had to happen.
I just want to thank my family, friends.
Well done, sir.
Shout out to some of the people that messaged me this week congratulating me on last week's victory. You really helped me with this week. Keep morale up, and thank you, Martin, for the quiz.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
no
great quiz,
problem. I
Martin,
mean,
yeah.
you said you were going to lose from the start, so
And last but not least, thank you, Robin, for graciously losing to me this week.
No, well done, sir. I'm going to shake your hand, but virtually,
Okay,
across,
I'm
across the
shaking
internet.
too.
I'm shaking
I think-
your hand, yeah.
Alex,
that was
I think
good.
getting a question right on the rugby round really served you well.
Yeah, South
Managing
Africa.
to get through that without it being 3-0.
Also, two
That's what
of the
really
multiple
helped you.
choice ones I just guessed instantly as soon as the options came up. And fortunately,
buzzer.
they served me well.
The buzzer game was strong. It was also very strong.
It was.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice. Oh, thank you for that,
Well,
Martin.
Well done, Alex. Very good win. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a great
Thank you.
win. That was
Very
well
good.
done. I
was
said
tense.
before
It
we
was
started
tense.
recording this podcast, I did say to Alex, we're now in the rise of Alex. era.
I think
this
so.
is going to be it for a while now. Alex is going to be king. Claw his
He's
way
a
to
confidence
the top.
quizzer for sure.
Yeah.
Gets on a roll and there's no
There's no
stopping him.
stopping the
So
That's
Exactly,
true. Although
exactly.
next week I'm doing the quiz, so I don't know. That might break up my flow.
it could do. You could lose a bit of momentum.
And the best way
So-
to stop you winning is for you to not to play. So
I'm never going to do another quiz. I'm just going to call it a day. No, I think I'm still dead last on the scoreboard, so I need to win a few more.
A couple more, I reckon, and then you're way back in the race, definitely.
because you were 14% last week, and Martin's on 38, something like that. So
Okay, it's going to be close then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can do it. You can do it.
there we
And
go.
you've got that first black mark against your record, your 100% score, Robin.
It's only downhill from
gone.
here. It's only downhill.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and thank you everyone at home for joining as well. It's been fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
been
has
great.
been fun.
Yeah, thanks for hosting, Martin.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. And
No problem. We're going to head on over to our Patreon, are we, and discuss another fantastic topic. So for everyone that's signed up to see that, then you can. And I guess we'll see you next time on this quarantini special version of the Just Interesting podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
bye for
See you
now.
later, guys. Have
Thanks,
a good
guys. Bye.
Bye.